Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we love to talk about movies. Welcome especially if you're new. If you enjoy talking about movies and staying up to speed on what's in theaters and what's worth checking out, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a review. Alright, with that we're going to get into the review today, which is for Black Adam. So starting off with a synopsis, nearly 5,000 years after he was bestowed with the almighty powers of the Egyptian gods and imprisoned just as quickly, Black Adam is freed from his earthly tomb, ready to unleash his unique form of justice on the modern world. So we'll keep this spoiler free. I'm going to talk the 5 points on the film that stood out to me most, and then I'll conclude with my kind of final thoughts and letter grade on the film. So first and foremost, I thought the main character was actually fairly bland and not all that interesting. There is like a development in the story that I did find fairly interesting, but it came a little too late, and it still didn't really turn things around for me. I just feel like Black Adam didn't have a whole lot going for his personality and character. And I think that comes down to just the way he was written. And maybe that's comics accurate. If so, great. But as somebody who's not familiar with this character, the movie did not get me interested in him as a superhero, or as a character. So I don't think that's necessarily anything against Dwayne Johnson and how he played the character. I think it definitely comes down to just the story that was told and how they wrote the character. But I think he played it as it was written. But it just, I don't know. I think The Rock is very charismatic when he's in a role that demands it, and this role didn't have any of that. So I think one of his strengths as an actor was just completely tossed to the side and non-existent here. So I don't know. Again, might be accurate to the comics, but I didn't think it made for an interesting lead to this film. The second point, I thought the villain was fairly typical. It did not feel like something new. I don't think kind of in any way. Like I was able to pick out who the villain was from the beginning, and the way they progressed and kind of the final showdown was just, we've seen it a lot so far. If this movie came out 20 years ago, I think it might feel fresh, but we've seen it time and time again, and it didn't. It was just kind of meh on that front. So the highlight of the film, in my opinion, and this is my third point that I want to talk to, is Hawkman and Dr. Fate. I thought they were both very well done for characters, especially Dr. Fate. I would love to see a Dr. Fate film. This was a character I did not know of beforehand. I'm familiar with like the more popular DC film heroes. I haven't read any comics or anything like that, so if they're not on film, I'm not going to be familiar with them. I'm familiar a little bit with Hawkman from the CW shows, but very, very little. But Dr. Fate seemed like a really cool character, and just like his abilities and the visuals that come with him, I thought were, by far the highlight of this film. So I thought both those characters were written pretty well and portrayed well by their actors. On the flip side of that, the other half of the Justice Society, I thought that Cyclone and Atom Smasher were pretty weak characters, and didn't really add all that much to the film, honestly. They just kind of were there. Atom Smasher was mostly like kind of trying to be comic relief, but I didn't find that many, if any, of his jokes really landed for me. Other people, I think, laughed at some of them, but yeah, these two characters were definitely a significantly weaker part of the characters in the Justice Society. And then last point to talk to, I thought for a movie that's, we'll get to my overall thoughts, but like it didn't have a whole lot going for it in my opinion throughout. Sometimes that can be redeemed by the credit scene, and I mean like that was, I think, definitely the case with Venom Let There Be Carnage. Like that was just a fine film, but then you have the credit scene which gets everybody talking. And I think this one kind of will to a degree, but I don't know. It didn't do a whole lot for me. I was kind of expecting it, I guess. I feel like it maybe kind of leaked. I was pretty sure I knew what it was going to be going into it, so there must be something out there about it. But then it was just kind of like, oh, okay, I could see where you're maybe going with a future movie, but I wasn't really sold on the Black Adam character in this movie, so whatever you're teasing, I'm not all that interested in. But yeah, I will say so. There is a mid credit scene, so stick around for that, and that is what I was referring to without getting into spoilers. But I thought it was just fine for a credit scene personally. But yeah, wrapping things up. Overall, this wasn't like super clearly in one category or the other. I think mainly because it did some things fairly well. Like the visual effects were really good. I thought the music was pretty good, and it was enjoyable to see in the Dolby Cinema having all of like the sound and the visuals there. And then you had a couple good characters that I found very interesting. I want to see more of and learn more about. But at the end of the day, the and I didn't even talk to all of the characters and side characters there. That's just there are a lot of characters, can't talk to all of them, but a lot of them they were fine. It wasn't bad or good, so it's not really something to highlight in a review, in my opinion. But the overall, I thought while there's some good things there, I give this one a letter grade of a C. I was hoping it would be better, and as like a superhero fan, I don't know if that makes me more inclined to like something like this or less, but it just felt like it's something we've seen time and time again. Sure, there was kind of that fresh take of like Black Adam isn't your typical superhero. He might not even be considered a hero to begin with, but I feel like the movie didn't really pull that off. It didn't make me like I think to pull that off, you need a character like Deadpool where he's not your typical hero, but you still love the character and he's still fun to see on screen. And I just wasn't invested in the main character at the end of the day, and without that, it just isn't all that good of a film. So I thought it was fine. That equates to a letter grade of a C. Again, there's definitely entertaining things in the film, but at this point where we're at with how many superhero films are out there these days, it definitely comes up as just fine. So I'd say check your expectations at the door if you're going in to see it. I think it's good enough where people will probably kind of enjoy it as a blockbuster film. We haven't had one in several months, so yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't say that I'd recommend seeing it, but you might be entertained if you go to see it. So if you've had a chance to see it though, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the film in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash that like button. And with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.